Hey guys, it's John, and I'm here with another viewer question. And this is going to be a unique one. Can you talk about the other side, or heaven, as they call it? When we connect to spirit, are we connecting with the other side? Also, when you cross over or die in the physical world, what happens when you get there? If you are an atheist, are you still accepted? What if you're a serial killer or a really bad person and you die? Thanks again. There's a lot in this. There's a lot in this to talk about. First of all, the word heaven, it means the same as nirvana. It means the same as bliss. It means a state of being. In the old days, heaven was they could only conceive of it as another place, some other place. It's a state of being. It's the state of unconditional love when you are with or in the oneness of God. That is heaven. In Buddhism, they try to get to the bliss state, or they talk about, in Hinduism, they talk about nirvana and getting to that feeling, that space. Well, what that it really is the complete and total immersion of unconditional love, without any limitation, without any barriers, without any blinders, without any fear. So that's the basic element of what the word means. The next, when we connect to spirit, we are connecting with the other. Are we connecting with the other side? So I kind of explained the other day about the Trinity, about the physical world, the Holy Spirit world, which is the higher self, and then the God consciousness, and basically the God consciousness, the Christ consciousness, and the human consciousness is what the three would be: Father, Holy Spirit, and the Son. The Holy Spirit part of this, the Christ consciousness part of this, is the place where there is individuality, or there is individual personality. So, in other words, in complete God consciousness, God is one, but within God there is these other individual personalities. Okay, but when you're fully immersed in the God consciousness, in my opinion, I don't know this is fact, but in my opinion, you feel the oneness, you are there. But the closer you get to the human consciousness, you come to a place of kind of being in both places at once. You're in a conscious state of full awareness of self, without the fears of the human consciousness. But you also have the information coming from the God consciousness, so you're in that state. So, in my opinion, connecting with guides, spirits, things of that nature, I believe we're connecting, and this is just my belief. If you don't believe it this way, it's fine, but you have to bring what's true in your heart. I believe that in that Christ consciousness level in there, there's all kinds of consciousness in there, and there's people who are in that space that are not in physical form, down here on the human consciousness plane, what in the Trinity they would call the Son. So I believe there are people who are in that level who are, in fact, interacting. And when we connect to the other side, we're literally tapping into that Christ consciousness level, and you're tapping into whoever can communicate with you there, whoever chooses to communicate with you from there. So that's what I believe. Next part of this. Also, when you cross over or die in the physical world, what happens when you get there? When I did my astral travel work, I went across, and I did not stay there very long. I went across, and I was in a pure white expanse, felt completely loving, completely safe. In fact, but there was so much there and not there at the same time that I felt like a child. I was in wonderment. I was like, oh my God, what the heck is this? And this man just looked at me like a caring adult and said, "You're not supposed to be here yet." And I fell back in the body. So when you talk to people who have had near-death experiences, they talk about they go across, and as they cross, the first thing they typically see is themselves out of body. Then most of them actually cross over in the belief system that they have. For instance, there are Indian people who cross over who see Shiva, the blue-faced man, right? There are Christians who see Christ, I would assume Muslims see Muhammad, are met by the prophet, I assume. I would never project that. I just assume. And I believe that when Buddhists go over, they're going into a bliss state. They may meet the Buddha But then you start talking to people who went deeper, and what happens is eventually that pairs away, and they feel what they describe as the most loving sensation they've ever felt, the unconditional loving sensation, right? That's what I felt when Jeshua touched me on the beach. I felt the unconditional loving sensation because what Jeshua was someone who was still accessing the Christ consciousness level, but also walked in the physical plane. So he was someone who was accessing that higher knowledge, but able to do it here. And that was powerful. So when he would reach out and touch me, he let me feel that consciousness without my fear. And that was life-changing for me. If there are atheists, are they still accepted? Well, it's an interesting question, because there's no such thing as acceptance. When you go, you're going to transition out of form, and you're going to see what you believe on the other side. Now, for an atheist who believes it's the end, they may at first see nothing, but I'm 100% positive that their consciousness will surpass their belief, because their beliefs are based in modern day fears and in real world fears, earthly fears. And when their beliefs are shed, they will have a whole new experience. But it won't be a dogmatic religious experience. It'll be an experience that is not trapped in those limiting beliefs and traditions. They will experience what everybody else experiences, but I personally believe that when you're going from a human consciousness into that Christ consciousness, it doesn't snap. It usually doesn't just happen. I think it is a slow transition. You see what you believe. It slowly gets transitioned into what it really is. Because it would be ridiculous for it only to be a Christian heaven, that you had to go to the pearly gates and get judged and blah blah blah. And it's all constructs created by man, and a lot of that was really to keep you in fear, so you'd be a good person instead of a bad person, right? What if you're a serial killer or a really bad person and you die? I've had this question before. I've answered it in one of the comments on one of the videos. What if you're a really bad person and you die? Okay. First thing that most people with near-death experiences will tell you is that when they crossed over, they had a life review. They remembered their entire life. But the thing that I find most interesting about that is they say they remember the life review from how the people they affected felt. So they felt all of the emotions of the people that they were affecting. They felt all of the emotions of the people who they were harming or hurting. They felt all. So if you're a serial killer or you're a really bad person, as you say here, when they cross over, they're going to experience all of that hurt, anxiety. If they killed a lot of people, they're going to experience all of the hurt and anxiety of all the people that they put through that, right? Imagine if Hitler went across. He would have to experience everything that he did to the Jewish people. He would have to experience everything that he put them through. And I believe that he would experience that. And that would be without a doubt, the worst punishment you could possibly give anybody. And then I believe he would learn that lesson. He would transition back into the unconditional loving place. And that's the way that would work. That's what I believe. Now, do I know? Have I been there? No, I haven't been there. I don't have that experience. But when I look at what I have experienced and what I do remember, and I look at what I was taught and what I know, and then I compare it to Buddhism, Hinduism, Baha'i, Islam, New Age thought, Christianity, all of it. And then I can also combine it with what I remember from that past life, and I remember those experiences. And then I add into that my intuition. This is the construct that I see, that I just laid out, that we will be in some way judged for our quote-unquote sins or the bad things that we do, but it will be by the people we did them to, and not intentionally by those people. But I think what will happen is they'll go across, and the people who did bad things will experience all of the hurt, trauma, and pain that they caused. And if they created a lot of pain, they're gonna experience it, and they're gonna experience all of it. And I think that's, if there was a karma, that would be the one moment of karma that I would say, you will sow what you reap, and if you reap pain and anguish, you're going to experience it at some point. And I think when you experience it is when you cross over. This is a great question. It's one that I've touched on in comments on other videos, but the interesting thing is that here I get to come out and just talk about it freely and really clarify it. I think that if you truly believe in a loving God, loving consciousness, yada yada, whatever you want to call it, if you truly believe in that, and that when you go out in the world and you smile and you spread your love to other people, all of those people will be part of your life review as well. All the good you've done will be shown to you in the end of your life. As you transition, you will learn from all of it. And I think the more loving and in vibration you are with God, with love, I think it's going to be a beautiful experience. But I also think that people who've done bad will have a bad moment or have a bad life review, and then they'll go into a beautiful moment because they'll be cleansed of those traumas, right? That's my take on it. That's what I am leaning on believing right now. And I say right now because, in all the work that I do in meditation and everything, I may have another experience that may change my mind, or someone may come along and say something that makes more sense to me. But from all of my experiences and all of my studies and all of my intuition, I truly believe that it is this simple. It's high vibration and low vibration. God is high vibration, and we are living low vibration here in the earth plane. We are living our fears and anxieties, whereas just above us is us without our fears and anxieties, and above that is the consciousness of all, and that is God. So, and that is love. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye.